Hi, my name is Josephine and these are my creatures. Do you remember this moon goddess doll from last year? You probably do, because it is my most viewed video ever. I absolutely love how this doll turned out, so I wanted to make a companion for her. Because she is the goddess of moon, it was quite obvious that I needed to make a sun goddess next. My moon goddess doll is a hybrid of Rebecca's head on a Claudia body. This time I wanted to make a hybrid using this Nephra body with this Genifire head. I love Genifire's face mold. I think it's very unique and beautiful. And after finishing my cherry blossom doll, I really wanted to repaint another one. First, I thought of making the doll just Caucasian looking with very pale skin, inspired by this picture, but ended up switching to this more tan skin tone and East Asian face mold. I think it makes the character more interesting, and a pale sun goddess would not make any sense anyway. I found the perfect hair from the Doll Hair Emporium. It's a gorgeous red color, so I paint her scalp to match it. The hair is called Magma Nylon and it has this amazing shine to it. It's so pretty and magical looking. This hair actually inspired me to make this doll. I just had to buy it and find a way to use it. My rerouting tool is just an X-Acto knife handle with the blade switched out for a needle that I've cut open on an angle. Rerouting is quite simple. You need to pinch off a small section of hair from your hank and loop it across your finger, catch the hairs with the needle and stick it to the pre-made holes on the head. Rerouting is like knitting. Once you get the rhythm down, it's not that bad. I use this clear waterproof glue to secure the hairs. I protect the hair with a scrap cloth and spray the first layer of MSC sealant. If I can avoid using acrylic paint for the color change, I will. So this time I'm covering her golden skin tone with neutral toned pastels. I mixed 3 different colors of pastel to get the right shade. I'm trying to get as close to the color of the Nephra body that I can. I've talked about PanPastels in my other videos, but look at this coverage. It's 1 coat of pastels, and that's all I need. Wow. My mixture of pastels was too red, and I need the color to be more orange. So I'm doing a layer of yellow on top to make it skew more orange. I also added some PearlEX powders for some shimmer on the skin. Cake break. These were the remnants of my birthday cake. My birthday was on July 27th. This year I didn't do a doll to celebrate my birthday, but maybe next year. I had a great flow when working on her face, so I went straight in and added all the lines and details to her left eye before I moved on, copying everything to the doll's right side. For this face up, I'm mostly using dark brown for the darkest areas instead of black because I want her to look very warm and soft. I added some more shadows and highlights to her face with pastels and then detailed the lips. I went with a bushier brow this time to match my moon goddess doll. I did so much on the second layer, but I do need a few more layers to finish the detailing on the face. I did a little bit more tweaking for her skin tone before I added the lashes. I added the shadows to her eyeballs with a grey pencil. And then I didn't know what to do with her eyes, what color or style I should do. And I also wanted to add some face markings as well. So my solution was to take a picture of the doll and plan out the rest of the face with a digital sketch on top of the picture. Once I had an idea that I really liked, I went back to the doll to finish it. For her face paint, I sketched it out with my chalk pencil first and then paint it on with white acrylic. My moon goddess doll had light blue eyes with white pupils for that eerie magical look. So this time I'm using yellow, a little bit of orange and white to create the irises and pupils for this doll. I added a little bit more PearlEX powder before I sealed her face. Extra sparkly! I remembered to add the catch lights before the gloss this time. I was contemplating on should I gloss the lips or not. I remembered that this gloss varnish from the Green Stuff World is a little bit less glossy, so that's why I used it. But turns out it is just as glossy as my favorite gloss from Tamiya. It's just not as rich, it's more thin, which I don't really like because it doesn't cover the texture of the brush strokes. It isn't a huge deal, but looking back, I wish I would have kept the lips matte. I made some earrings out of wire and the biggest size jump rings that I had. I removed the factory markings and the molded on underwear with my X-Acto knife and some sandpaper. I also sanded the whole body to make sure my sealant and magic sculpt would stick to it, especially the sealant. First, I was thinking of leaving the body as is, but I did mod the other body and I wanted them to look nice together, so I added some volume to her hips, thighs, chest and her arms. I also want the dolls to be a slightly different height when they stand together, so I'm removing a tiny bit of plastic from her shins. It would be weird having them next to each other with exactly the same body and height. The variation in height will give them much needed personality. After all the modifications, I removed the biggest bumps with my X-Acto knife and then sand some more. To make sure the body and the face match each other, I use more of my PanPastels and sealant to cover the changes I made. I also dust the body with PearlEX powder in brilliant gold. To accentuate the molding on the body and my modifications, I add shadows with brown pastel. I want to continue the markings on her face down to the body as well. Again, I use chalk pencil first before I add the acrylic paint on top. I love this stylized sun motif I came up with. It's so graphic and cool looking, and the white paint really pops against her rich skin tone. To create some asymmetry to her design, I came up with this cool white ink sleeve for her right arm. To balance out the arm, I added a small tattoo to her left ankle. To protect my work, I use a matte varnish. I do like this varnish from PanPastels a lot. It actually does what it says on the bottle, unlike some other varnishes I have tried. I really liked the nails I did for my monster mermaid, so I'm giving it another go. These did not turn out as nice, but I still think they look okay. Outfit time! I wanted her dress to be very flowy and a little bit sheer. I bought 3 different fabrics, but landed on the pale yellow one. A good thing about this fabric is that it's made out of polyester, which means that I can use a lighter to seal the edges and stop it from fraying. This time I started with the sleeves. I wanted them to be pillowy and ethereal looking, with a slit in the middle so you would see her tattoos. I cinch in at the elbow with a ribbon. Next, I make a skinny tube of fabric and press it flat. This is going to be the neckline of her dress. This next bit is a disaster, but I thought I would share it anyway. I started off with making the pattern. Once I had a paper pattern that I was happy with, I transferred that to my fabric. This fabric is chiffon and it is so slippery and very annoying to work with. It keeps sliding around even though I tried thread marking it before I even sewed the pieces together. The seams were quite long on this dress, so using the sewing machine was a good idea. After all that work, I hated how the dress looked. The fabric had shifted and the pieces were all skewed and wrong. I think this type of a dress is best made out of a stretchy spandex type of fabric. I scrapped that dress and started over. This time I experimented with gathering the fabric and then sewing a zigzag stitch where the neckline of the dress needed to be. I also wanted a way to display her ankle tattoo, so I added a slit to the left side. I made a mistake removing the gathering stitches after I had done the zigzag stitch. The zigzag was not enough to hold the shape. I decided to make a third version, taking into consideration all the things I learned while doing the previous ones. For closure, I added some thin elastic. This way it's loose enough that I can just pull it over the doll's hips. The dress looked a little plain, so I had an idea to dye the bottom edge orange and create an ombre effect. Now, this chiffon is made out of polyester, which is a synthetic material. I only had dye for natural fibers like cotton or wool. I decided to test out using acrylic paint. Now, the results are not that impressive. It did change color and left an organic looking pattern that you could use in a different project, but not for this one. I ordered some eye-dye poly and it arrived in the mail in a couple of days. I ordered orange and yellow because I didn't know how dark the orange would be. Synthetic fibers need high temperatures, so I'm doing the dyeing process in the kitchen using the stove. This pot is for dyeing my own hair, so it's safe to use for this as well. I used the scrapped dress attempt as tester fabric for the dye. The instructions say that you should leave the fabric in for 30 minutes or up to an hour. I only did 15 minutes because I have no intention of ever washing this fabric, so I don't need the color to be that intense. I did accidentally drop the whole thing in the dye pot. That's why you can see a faint color difference to the undyed one. After my successful test dye, I dyed the pieces for the actual dress. I assembled the dress starting from the sleeves. Next is the neckline. While working on this doll, I saw a picture of Bella Hadid wearing a dress designed by Daniel Roseberry. And I have to say, I love this dress. It's so high fashion and different. Instead of a ginormous necklace that's inspired by the human lungs like Bella had, I decided to go for a bra type of design. Using pieces from this decorative metal piece I got from a friend when I bought a doll from them. Just gluing them straight on was the easiest way, so I did that. To decorate the bra even more, I used some rhinestones, gold paint, and glitter glue in gold. Now that she only needs the finishing touches, let's put her back together, starting with her head. She cannot be a goddess without a headpiece. I found this random piece of plastic just drifting in our house. I think it might have something to do with candles, but what I do know is that it will make a fabulous headpiece. I trim it to size and then paint it. The first color was too dark, so I switched it out to this platinum colored paint instead. Let's make her a staff. I start out by forming a shape that I liked out of wire and then decorating the staff's handle with jewelry wire. I added a crystal from a Christmas decoration to the middle. And then I wanted spikes radiating out from the circle just like the motif on her forehead. I tried doing this with wire and magic sculpt, but I did not like the end result. So I started over and this time made the spikes out of craft foam. To shape the spikes, I used scissors and my Dremel tool. The Dremel tool was very handy for creating this kind of a beveled crystal or stone looking surface for the pieces. I want to use metallic paint on the spikes, so a black base coat is the best. I mixed some copper PearlEX powder with Tamiya gloss glaze to create a very metallic finish on the pieces. Her shoes were a roller coaster to make, and I hated the end result. So I remade them off camera and I'm much happier with them now. And now she is finally done. I absolutely love how she turned out. I have so many favorite things about this doll. I love her hair, her tattoos, and the ombre effect of her dress. It makes it look like it's glowing and catching on fire. I had an idea about a series on my channel, and I would very much like your thoughts on it. Would you be interested in seeing 7 to 8 more videos where I would make a goddess doll for each of the planets in the solar system? And if you would like that, what planet would you like to see first in the series? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto? Let me know in the comments down below. I really need your input on this, because this will be a very time-consuming project to do, because there is 9 planets if you count Pluto, and that would mean I have to make 9 dolls. We could explore more alien-looking designs and pull inspiration from the characteristics of each planet, like Saturn's rings, the spot on Jupiter, or Pluto's tiny size. We could also have the dolls be different ethnicities, or have no ethnicity at all. I think this is an endless source of inspiration. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave this video a like before you go and subscribe if you haven't yet done that. Until next time, bye!